Hey guys, it's Loves to Loom here, and I'm so excited to show you my new reversible Skeley bracelet. This bracelet is actually very similar to my new Skeletor bracelet. I could not decide between the two of them when I was making it. I had like a bunch of different little pieces that I was trying to finagle with, and this one and the Skeletor are the ones I like the most, so I decided to just make both of them. You will notice if you put them side by side, they are very similar with minor differences. Particularly this side looks the same, but yet different. The Skeletor, the dashes are completely straight, and this bracelet is a lot tighter in general. But this is my favorite side of this bracelet, and you can flip it over and wear it on this side, which has like the spiral going down the middle, and this side. So, what was I going to say? So, I don't know if I said it already, but this bracelet takes about 150 bands to make, depending on your wrist size. And without wasting your time any further, to make this bracelet, you do need 3 looms, because we are going to be using 8 bar pins, and that's if you want it to fit around your wrist. If you only want to use 4, you can do so, but you will need a transfer or an extension. You will also need 2 C-clips for this bracelet, as well as your hook. For the bar pins, you want them aligned like so. And if you're using all 8, just put the other 4 directly in front of these 2, so they're all aligned. I'm going to be using, well, this is the one I'm going to be making. So it will be the blue border, the rainbow, white, and black. So to get started, you need to grab a total of 4 bands, whichever you're going to be using for your border bands. And we are going to grab 2, lay them on this pin here, just so they sit on the bottom. Grab another 2 and sit them right there. That's for later. You can just leave it for now. Grab 2 more bands of your border color, and we're going to lay one out to the right and then one out to the left here. So just one there and one there. You can push that down. We're just going to move on from the border for now. We'll come back to that later. So now we're going to lay the middle bands going all the way up these middle pins here, which is going to be black for me. This is going to be, again, the color that goes across in here. And it does like the spiral on this side. So if that can help you choose what you want to use. So this is super easy. You're going to start on the next one up above from the borders that we just laid. And you're just going to lay them straight across. Just one single band going across. It's super easy. Now for my wrist size for this bracelet, I stop so at the point of the end of my loom where there are 4 pins without any bands on it. I'm going to have to kind of move my camera angle a little bit. Sorry about that. It's kind of on the side, but my camera kind of gets in the way a little bit. So yeah, for my wrist size, there will be 4 empty pins at the end here. Okay, so I have 4 empty ones here. This is where my bracelet will stop. So this is all you should have on there right now is this horizontal band. Now you do want to go ahead and push that down, because the next bands that we lay will attach to this pin. And it just makes it a little bit easier if they're pushed down some. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. So come back to the beginning of your bracelet, or loom. Oops, sorry about the big finger in the way. Okay. when I use a full loom like this, it gets in the way of my little tripod. So it gets a little weird once I have to move up it. So now we're going to lay our rainbow colors, which is what I'm using for like the little dot things that show up on the sides. So I'm going to start with pink. And what we're going to do is just lay them. Each set is going to come down diagonally, and each one will connect to the black. So the first one should go there, and then the second one on the right. So everything we do on the left side, we have to do to the right. And it doesn't matter for this part if you lay the left or the right first, because it's not, you know, connecting any bands that would affect that at this point. And just like I stated in my Skeletor video, which is the, like, brother of this bracelet, because they're so similar, this bracelet really is easy to make. I mean, this one's a little bit harder than the Skeletor, but, I mean, it's still so easy, especially laying the bands. The looping is easy in the beginning, but I guess it could get a little tricky once you have to bring the bands back, but I think it's pretty straightforward. And you know what? I missed a color. I had to grab another band. So we're going to just do this all the way up the loom until you reach your last black horizontal band. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish laying this since it's pretty straightforward. And then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, so I finished laying all of my diagonal bands. And now we're going to go ahead and come back to the beginning. I did push my bands down. And now we are going to add what will be our border bands. So grabbing my blue. Now these are going to be put on in the shape of like a sideways triangle. So once again, it doesn't really matter which side you start on or if you go back and forth. But for this part, I'll just go ahead and start on the left. We're going to stretch it around these 3 pins here, making like a triangle. Just like that, and I'll go ahead and do one on the right side. So going around those 2 pins, pulling it up. So it's like a triangle, upside down, I guess. So now going on to the next one, it will connect to these 3 pins. So you would just keep moving up to the next set of pins. And just keep moving forward. You always know that the bottom is connecting to the top of, you know, your last triangle. But I would say it's pretty easy to catch on to. Just make sure that you don't accidentally lay it like that way. You know, not like paying attention. Make sure you're always laying it the same way or your bracelet will not come out correctly. And it may actually even fall apart. So you're going to do that until the very end, just like the rest of your bands that we laid. So just take that up to the last row of bands, and then I will come back and show you the next step. Okay, so I'm done laying all of my triangles. So now we're going to go back to the beginning of our loom, and we have one more layer to add. So I know it may seem like a lot of bands kind of going back and forth, but I think it's really easy, so hopefully you guys don't mind it. So now all we're going to do is lay a single chain border running up the two middle band, or pins, excuse me. So we're going to go all the way up the row, just starting at the beginning. And just like everything else in this bracelet so far, it doesn't matter which side you start on. I will let you know when that matters, which will be in only at the end of the looping. The whole first half, it doesn't matter, pretty much. So just one after another. I'm sure every single body, or every single person can do this part. Oh my, what a night. It's been a long night. I should be going to bed instead of looming, because I'm so tired. But I'm sure all my looming buddies out there totally know what I'm going through right now. It's so hard to make yourself go to sleep when you want to get filming done. Oops. So you're just going to take this white band up to the very tippy top to your last band. Or last bands. And I'm going to lay my last ones. So this is what your loom should look like. Okay, so I turn my loom around facing me. I would recommend pushing down your band some, which I already did, but we do have to lay 2 more bands and then we're done. We just have to lay our cap bands on these front 2 pins, but they're going to actually need to, the one on this one's going to need to wrap around both of these 2, and then on these 2, but I just place it on this one, regular cap band there, and then I stretch it over to this one. But you can go ahead and just wrap it around both. Like, wrap it around this one twice if you want to do it that way. But I find it easier to do it like this. So I put my cap band on. Then I grab the cap band and I just stretch it over like that. I just feel like it comes out a little cleaner when I do it that way. Guess it doesn't really matter. I just like to try to straighten it out some. So now that we have our cap band on, we can get started. So all we're going to do at first is loop up the whites here in the middle. That's all we're going to do for the first part. So move back your cap band, grab your top band, bring it forward, do the same thing on the right side. Now for this part, you can just go all the way up the left and then all the way up the right, or you can kind of go back and forth like I'm doing. Doesn't matter. Whatever's easier for you. Sorry if my hand kind of gets in the way a little bit. For the sake of the camera, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth. Just makes it a little bit easier. My loom is stuck. My loom was stuck. I couldn't move it. So just keep looping straight up until you reach the very top, until you can't loop any more forward. And then I'll come back and show you what the next step is. Alrighty, so I am done looping my middle whites all the way up. So we're going to come back down to the beginning. And now we are going to loop our blue triangles. So this part's super easy too. All we're going to do is go in the cap band, grab the bottom part of the triangle, and you're just going to bring that forward. Then you're going to grab that next one, inside that one, and bring that forward. And that's all we're going to do all the way up. It's just pretty much like a single chain, except it's really a triangle. Just keep going in the cap band, bringing the next one forward. And there is a little tension, so just be careful. After you do it on the left side, then you're going to have to then go on the right side and do the same thing. I'm kind of rushing, but I would recommend trying to keep these bands straight, because these are going to end up being your border bands, and you want them to look nice and clean. So I just did my last one, loop that forward, come back to the beginning, bottom right, grab that, bring that forward. Grab the next one and bring that forward. And you're going to do that all the way up the right side, just like we did the left. And then I'll be right back to show you the next step. Okay guys, so I have all of my triangles looped up. So this is what your loom should be looking like. And then once you have all that done, come down to the beginning again. And now this step is going to be easy as well. All we're going to do is loop all of our diagonal bands up to the, where they originated from. So they'll be going all to like the outer part of the loom. So it doesn't matter really what side you start on. I'll start on the left. Grab my pink. Bring it to the left. Do the same on the right side. And lift my loom a little. Now we have to go inside here. Make sure you get through that white and blue. And then bring it up. You can go right to left on this part, or go all the way up the left and then come back to the right. It doesn't matter for this part. For the next part, it will matter, but not for this part. So just make sure you're getting inside the top layers. Loom them out. I like to try to keep my bands straight. And a little quicker way is if you kind of, oh, I missed one. If you kind of push your hook inside, like instead of going in right here, there's a little space that if you go in the side, you can grab it a lot easier. Doesn't really matter. It's your preference, but it is definitely quicker. So just do that all the way up, finish looming out all of your diagonal bands, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay guys, so I did finish looping out all my diagonal bands. At this point, your loom should look like this. Now, at this point, we're going to be doing pretty much a row at a time because we have to loop these bands and then loop the horizontal blacks. So, what we're going to be doing is going inside each of the side pins, grabbing the very bottom color band, and we're going to loop it back to where it originally came from. So, we're going to start on the left, push back the top bands, grab that bottom pink, and loop it down. Come on the right side, do the same thing. Make sure you're going inside that pin and loop it down. Now we're going to loop the black. We're going to be bringing this up here and this bottom one over to the left so it makes like a crisscross. This one's going to be a little tight up to the left. And you want to try to make sure that these middle bands are not all twisted. Just like that. And you also want to make sure that if you lay the left first and then the right, that you do that all the way up because it affects how that spiral looks in the bracelet. So let's see, where was I? Okay, so now after you lay your cross, now we have to go back and bring these down. So go inside the next pin, grab the bottom band, do the same on the right side. Bring down that bottom band, and it should connect to the top of where you did your cross. Now go in, push back all those top bands, grab that bottom black, stretch it up, do the same on the right side. And we're going to keep repeating that. Now we'll do our horizontal band again. I'm going to lay my loom back down now that you guys probably have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing. Let's see, where was I? Oh, sorry. Got stuck. So if you have watched, I pretty much will have these posted at the same time, so you may not have seen it yet, but if you have made my Skeletor bracelet, it's pretty much the same thing. Oh, I just messed up because I did not loop up my black here. So if you were following me, make sure you always loop this black before you're bringing down a color. Now I can bring down my yellow. So just pay close attention to that. You should always be laying that on top of a crossband. Let's see. So now I got to do my cross again. But now what I was saying is the part that we're doing right now in this bracelet, as far as the looping, is exactly the same as my Skeletor bracelet. And did I just mess up again? No, I didn't. That's what happens when I talk during a design. Not to mention I have Big Brother After Dark on, which is also taking my focus. Any of my most recent bracelets, you should be familiar with, like, the type of looping that I'm doing. I've been doing this in a lot of my recent tutorials with going inside the pin and looping the bottom band back. But the Skeletor bracelet and the Skeley, which is the one that we're doing right now, they are almost exactly the same, except like the border part of it, which gives it like a little bit of a different look. But they are so similar, but I couldn't decide which one I liked better. So I said, well, I'm just going to put them both out. And you guys can choose which one you prefer to make. Or you can make both. Because I could not decide. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead off camera and just get these last couple ones looped up. There's nothing else that you have to do. You're just going to keep doing this until you get to the top. And then I'll show you what to do just to close it up. I'll be right back. Okay, so I reached the top. I did everything exactly the same like we did in the entire, tutorial of the bracelet. So the last thing I did was connect my two blacks up to the middle. Now we're just going to bring the side blue bands into the middle that we put on there in the beginning. So I'm going to grab this left band from inside. It's going to be a little tight. Just bring that there. Come on the right side. Bring that in there. Like that. And now we're just going to, I'm going to turn my loom a little. We had laid two bands down in the beginning, which is going to be for our C-clips. So get your C-clips ready. And then go inside, hold it with one hand, and then with your other hand, push back these bands and pull up these two bands here and reattach like that. And this is where, I pulled up. That's okay though. But this is where you're going to attach your C-clip. I am using a monster tail C-clip because there are a lot of bands on here. If you don't have a monster tail C-clip and you're finding it hard to get all the bands through, You can just use one band to pull through. I just like the tightness that 2 gives. And make sure you get all the way around all the bands because I'm having some trouble. There we go. And then just kind of let it go. Just make sure you have all the bands hooked because you don't want that to fall apart. We're going to do the same thing over here on the right side. So just grab the 2 from the outside. Push back. Sorry guys, I got cut off. Push back your bands, grab those 2, and reattach. And this is where you're going to add your other C-clip. It is very hard to get on, at least it is for me. Don't know why. I'm having such a hard time. Okay. So now when you start to pop this off, it does look a little funny up here. But don't worry about it because when you attach it at the end, it won't look funny. So to remove it off of your loom, I highly recommend to use your hook and just pop it off like this because you don't want any bands getting like stretched out or anything. So just one at a time, pop them off like so. Okay, so I went ahead and just released all my bands off camera on the sides and then just grab the base of the middle and just carefully pull up on it. Just be careful. Alright, so you're just going to want to give it a good little stretch. This bracelet you may need to kind of mess around with the border a little bit, being that they were the triangles, they get kind of stretched a little bit, so you may have some like twisting of the border band. So you just may want to go around and fiddle with that. One thing that I do like to do, actually let's get it clipped first real quick and then I'll show you one thing to make the back side lay a little better. Just come down to the beginning here. There is going to be a cap band, but there's also going to be another loose band kind of sticking out. So just connect all 3 of those so you don't have a like loose band sticking out. And then do the same on the right side. Looks like I actually missed that band, but that's okay. I'll fix that later. So one thing that I do for this side is I kind of like to pull on it a little bit if I'm wearing it on this side because I feel like it just makes it a little bit cleaner. You can even pull the sides out a little bit, like the border band, so they're not so tucked in there. But on the back side, the back side or front, I don't even know which is which really. But for this side, if I'm gonna wear it, I like to bend it like this and like kind of pull on it. And you're basically, by doing that, you're like popping up the middle. Kind of reminds me of like a spine. But it just makes that middle pop up, and I think it looks way cooler if you wear it like that. And you'll see in person how it raises that middle out if you do that like popping up effect. So there you have my Skeley bracelet. I really hope you guys like this design. I totally love it. Like I said, this is basically like the twin of my Skeletor bracelet. So they are very similar, but I just could not decide which one I liked better. So I figured why not show you both. So if you haven't checked this one out, you definitely want to check that out as well. But if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, so you can stay in tune with all my new and latest designs. And yeah, tag me at Loves to Loom on Instagram and if you do make this bracelet, and I will see you all at my next video. Thanks guys. Bye.